Hey guys, this is Snowy and welcome to my mess. And this is a little bit dark. We put some light on. Do you ever had the, moment that in retrospect you said like, oh my gosh, this was really an impulse buy? Yeah? Well, I had one and you are seeing it right now, which is this case over here, this box, this box over here. When I saw it, I thought like, oh, it's a nice box, with, windows on the side like that. And also here you can see that also windows on the side. And without thinking, I just bought it. And the darn thing does not even has USB 3.0 support. Now, when I opened it, I was surprised by the fact that it only had like 2 bays for hard drives. Yes, only 2 bays. 2 bays. Now at that time, and still, I only had also 2 hard drives. I have a Western Digital Red, 3 terabyte, and there's also a Western Digital Blue of 4 terabyte in this case. Now, this thing is actually my home server, data server, backup server, whatever you can call it. But the problem is the 2 drives that are in there are working like individually, but they are getting filled up and I cannot extend. So what did I do? I went on a spree. Well, not a spree. I went just looking for something pretty nice that could accommodate my problem. And we are walking now to the living room, and here you see another mess. This lovely case. This is a Fractal Design Node 804. And this lovely case can support up 8 drives. Now you can see it also consists of 2 separate locations. Like you have to put the hard drives on this side and the motherboard goes on the other side. Yeah. Now also what I have bought is like 4 terabytes Western Digital Blue hard drives, a new tower cooler for the processor, which is currently sitting in this thing. And this thing has like, well, it's very difficult to see. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see there is that little cooler. Well, it's a very, very simple cooler. And this motherboard is also one that includes a GPU on the CPU, so it gets extra hot. It's only a dual core AMD, I don't know what type, but the thing is like idling even when I underclocked it to 2.5 gigahertz and still idling at 60 degrees. So you can imagine that this that cooler sucks. I mean, that is like hopeless. And yeah, so what's the plan right now? Now, in my own work PC over here, this is my main PC, there's also a Western Digital 4 terabyte drive. Now, I'm going to use that drive, and I'm going to use the 4 terabyte in that case, and those 3 over there to complete a complete server. Now, the first thing I have to do is like take one of those drives over there, hook it into this system, because this motherboard over here is not bad. This motherboard has like 8 SATA connectors, so I can just hook on another drive and I'm done. And I just barely can fit the combined data on one of those 4 terabyte drives. I have to delete my TrueCrypt backup file, but I still have like 2 left. So, and then it just fits like 4 terabyte or something like that to one of those drives. So yeah, first let me do that, and yeah, I will be right back opening up this case, and then we will copy files. So we'll be right back. Okay, I took the lid off, and now you can better see what's actually inside of here. Now look at that cooler over there. It's such a small thingy. It's a very small thingy. And the motherboard, I don't know if you can see it. I mean, I have like an SSD, also like, yeah, wrangled in here. And here we have like all the connectors for the motherboard. I hope you can see it. It's a little bit dark in here, but yeah, we will get like one of those 4TB drives, and then we will copy all the stuff, you know, from the two drives, which are located in here. Yeah, here. So we have like the Western Digital red over here, and the blue is sitting over there. Yeah. Okay, so I will get now one of those drives, and then we will start copying. Well, this is something I'm not getting very happy about. It says like time remaining about 7 hours. Yeah, you just let it copying, you know. It will be done sooner or later. So finally, it took like 6-7 hours to transplant all the data from the two hard drives, from those two to the 4TB Western Digital. So what I'm going to do now is get that Western Digital red out of there and put it into my own computer down here, so I can get the 4TB drive which is in that computer out of there. So I'm back, and finally I have everything finished. All the data has been copied to the other drive, and now the 4TB drives are over here now, as you can see. As you also can see, that is a bit older one, which I purchased on March 4th, 2020. And one of the other drives dates back from 2018, I cannot know for sure. So in the box, by the way, is a new cooler, which will go on the processor into this case, of course. And yes, what we will go do now is go back here, and I will set up the camera, and the idea is to dismount this thing now. Put all the, well, let's put this amplifier a bit lower. So all that stuff needs to be removed, the motherboard, the power supply unit, and well, not that there is much in there, but yeah, and the SSD, of course. So yeah, I will set up the camera right there, so it will be a time-lapsed dismantling of this case, so otherwise, you know, otherwise the video will become too long. And I also have to talk a little bit about the discussion about whether I'm going to apply RAID 5 or maybe something else. But we'll talk about that later. Yes. Okay, here we go, dismantling this thing. Well, as you can see, this is the motherboard. It's a micro ATX motherboard from Gigabyte, and very small, very handy if your case is not that big. But this cooler is way too small for the processor that is underneath it. I mean, it was idling at 60 degrees, while I even underclocked it to 2.5 gigahertz, while it natively runs at 3.5 gigahertz. So, but what I like about this motherboard is the amount of SATA connectors. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 SATA connectors. And yeah, I really love that. So yeah, so the whole thing can now be installed into the other case. So yeah, let's do that. So this is also interesting to note. This is the new Zalman tower cooler that I'm going to install on the motherboard. Now you can see the difference between these both fans, you see, and of course this will be mounted on here, and I have to attach it to that stuff. And yeah, when I get back to the video, then this thing will be mounted on there, because that thing simply does not cut it. So yeah, this was by the way, I don't know if you have seen it in the time lapse, this is also the SSD I am using in my home server. So just put it like here between all the other junk. So yeah, don't mind it. And okay, so I will be right back with the other cooler attached to this motherboard. Yeah. Hey guys, I'm back again, and I did some work. It would appear that I missed this FM2 bracket, so I obtained one through the local marketplace. This bracket over here. I also installed this fan on this cooler, you know, this radiator. It was just a matter of putting in these clips here, which on hook on here. So I am ready now to put this on here as well. Before I do that, I need to put some thermal paste on the CPU. So let's do that first. Now with the cooler, Zalman cooler, there came some super thermal grease. So let's apply that. So let me put that a little bit, you know, to the back, so I can cut like a nice hole here, like that. Now I have been watching some videos of Linus Tech Tips from Linus, and I see Linus putting like a huge amount of this stuff on there. And I'm kind of surprised, you know, that Linus did that, because you definitely don't need that much of this stuff. It's not the idea, you know, it's not the idea that this stuff is completely covering and making sort of a, how you would say this, sort of like a direct connection or something to the underside of this. No, this stuff is meant to just fill up the nanometer sized inefficiencies of this flat area also there and there, nothing more. This metal here needs to touch that metal straightly, and only where there are slightly, you know, slightly errors in the surface of this area, this stuff comes into place, nothing more. So you don't need much of this stuff, only a pea size, maybe a centimeter across. So I will put that here, if I can get something out of it. And you can also see that this little sack does not contain that much actually. So let me see, can I get something out? Yeah, here's something coming. Look at that. Ooh, it's like squeezing a pimple. Okay. It's a little bit of stubborn, but yeah, that is more than enough. Look at that. Now let's put this away. So let's have a look from close by. You see, that's more than enough, because when you put on the cooler will press down the thermal paste completely over the entire surface. So that's it, nothing more, you don't need anything more than that. Now I also take into account where this cable had to go, because the connector to the cable is right over there, CPU fan, and I know this is the I/O panel backside. So the way it goes, it's like this. This thing is blowing towards this thing, the air out of the case, out of the case. Yes. So let's see if we can mount this thing, because I did not try that yet. And yeah, these are only clips basically. Now, this is my first attempt, so if it fails, don't shoot me, please. Yeah, it clicks. Hey, look at that, I can already lift it. Now let's turn these back. Oops, yeah. To make sure this is mounted very properly. Okay. Once you meet resistance, don't go any further, That's just it. Resistance, don't go any further. Yeah, now let's also do the other one. On this side as well. And we have our cooler attached. Hey, look at that. How nice. Now, we take this cable and we put it straight into, let me see, there are like, you know, these little guidance stripes. You can just see how it fits on the, here you see, I hope you can see it. You see, like you can just put it right on here. Here on the CPU fan connector, yeah. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do now is like, I have all the stuff ready. That is the old case. I have all the hard drives ready. That's the old CPU cooler. That's the SSD I'm using for the operating system. Very simple one. And that's the new case with the PSU on it. I mean, more than enough for the hard drives. And yeah, I'm going to make a nice time lapse of myself doing this. Otherwise, this video will become way too long. So, and I don't want that. So yeah, let's do this. So, I had a little issues with the motherboard attaching it because I noticed that all these screws that are going into the backplate behind it, they were like, you know, not going there and that smoothly. So you could see on the time lapse that I had to use like, where is this thing? This thing to just, you know, screw them in. And eventually I did notice that this one over here was not at the right spot. I did put the screw there instead of there, so little error, but okay, it's fine. The motherboard is now in place. Now I have a lot of cables around here, like this for example. I have no idea where that is for. And let me see what we do have more. I think I saw another kind of cable somewhere. Okay, this cable is just coming from that fan over there, so this can just go in any attachment on the motherboard, if there is any. And for the rest, well, these cables, another fan, and here another cable. Yeah, I don't think this motherboard has that much attachments for all these fans, because we have like one fan, another fan, and another fan, and another fan somewhere on the other side with the hard drives we cannot see, which is probably no, wait a second, this one, because before I laid down the motherboard I picked this one and put it right here so I would not finagle with it afterwards. So I think that we probably, oh wait a second, we can also use these things. Aha, yeah, they supply power. Yeah, and then let me see. Yeah, but then I have to, let me see, I need to make sure that I can attach it also to the power supply unit, because I have like this connector, which is unknown to me actually, but yeah, we'll figure that out, no problem. Now I'm going to build this thing further without hassling with my phone, because I have to admit guys, I'm recording this video footage with my phone, and it's so awkward to put the phone into a right position because it's falling over, it's difficult to put somewhere. I don't have a decent camera to actually do this, and also not a decent, you know, working space. Yeah, that makes it also a little bit more difficult. But when the thing is done, and I also have the hard drives in, you look, I have a whole bunch of screws and metal things and all that kind of stuff. I need to figure out where that goes. And I also noticed that I got these things. I'm surprised. These are anti-resonance pads or something that I need to put between the screws and the hard drives, I think. Yeah, I know these things. So yeah, to avoid unnecessary noise coming from the hard drives, which are now lying there and waiting. Yeah. Okay guys, so I'm going further now without filming this stuff because it's too much a hassle, you know, with the phone. And yeah, I can film it, you know, through a hyperlapse, etc. But
even then it's difficult for you to see it all, and I think you would be rather more annoyed by seeing what you can't see. But I rather give you a finished product, you know, that is finished, and I decide then what I'm going to do in Windows itself. Okay, so I will be back when the thing is done. Okay, thank you, see you later.
So what I also have done is, like, I made this well, sort of construction, how the hard drives are located in the system. Now, these letters are the end letters or numbers of the serial number of any of the hard drives. Now, if I get an error message and any of the programs or Windows will say like this drive is failing, then I know exactly which drive is failing in the system and which drive I need to get out, because all these drives are like 4 terabytes of Western Digital Blue, so they look very much alike. So that's the reason why I put this end letters or numbers on here, so I exactly know which drive is which. So I think that would be very useful, I think. Don't you agree? Well, after some finagling, the server, the home server, is finally ready. I have installed all the 5 hard drives into it, and sadly enough, you know, the side here is a little bit, I can show you this a little bit. You can see though there are like fans inside that are like making light. Well, it's just well, just for the sake of argument, but anyway, I want to show you this now. Okay, here comes the whole thing. Now let me see, I'm going to put this up a little bit. Let's put this monitor a little bit down. Lower can it not be, and oh, this cannot be up. Okay, I hope you can read this stuff, by the way, like this. Okay, yeah. Okay, so my telephone is pointing up a little bit upwards. I hope you like that. And the monitor is a pretty old monitor, but I use this monitor for all, you know, I don't know, all simple kinds of things. So, what we are seeing here is the program called Specky, and this program is basically a diagnostic overview program that shows everything. I was very interested about whether, you know, what the temperature would be of the CPU. I don't know if you can see it over here, there. It shows 36 degrees. Now, with the old cooler, which I don't know where I put it, but with the old cooler, that thing was about 60 or 61 or 65, and it was always orange, red a little bit. So the new Zalman tower cooler definitely works pretty well, and I'm very happy with that. Also, I'm happy that I see the all the drives, although I'm not 100% sure why, you know, this program detects some of these drives as an SSD, but and also this data SSD has like a temperature of 46 degrees, but you know, it does not really matter. Now the whole issue is like, you know, in the beginning I talked about, yeah, I want to implement RAID 5. You remember that, RAID 5. Now if we go to disk management here, now the monitor is a little bit small, so but you get the picture. It's like you see I have 4 drives which are unallocated, and there is one drive which contains all the backup information that came from the original setup. Now here comes the whole thing, you know, about RAID 5. I have been searching about RAID 5, and RAID 5, well, 10 years ago people were more inclined to use that as a form of security, but these days RAID 5, especially with Western Digital Blues, it's like asking for troubles. The thing is, if you use RAID 5, yeah, and a file is being copied to one hard drive, then of that file, let's say the file is 900 megabytes in size, then 300 megabytes of that file will be spread across the other disks. So you create what is called parity. Yeah? Now, so with RAID 5 you lose basically 4 terabytes of space. Now that is in theory, that is you know, that is all fine, but in practice, if one drive is failing and you would replace that drive and you figure it out in Windows nonetheless how to
put back the array. And officially in Windows 10 you cannot even make a RAID 5 array. You only can create what is called a storage pool. Now I did a search online and about how to restore a storage pool which has like a RAID 5 character sort of in Windows 10, and the amount of information I found was so lacking that I was thinking like, is this a sensible idea to do? I thought to myself, well, I think, if a drive goes, then it goes. On this home server, I only have like TV shows, movies, and a backup file of my main backup. But that file I also have on my PC and on another PC. So if it is getting lost here on this machine, I mean, it's not that troublesome. And movies can be re-downloaded. TV shows, I burned a lot of them on Blu-ray disc. I have about 100 Blu-ray disc full of TV shows. But even those can be re-downloaded. So I have decided to do another thing within disk management. As you can see, I can make a RAID 5 array. No, not through here, but through another option. But I'm going to do it a little bit different. Now I have like I will keep this drive, this one, as a sort of installation drive where I put installation files and maybe also music and other stuff. And the other drives I'm going to allocate for movies and TV shows. But how? I'm going to create 2 volumes that are like striped. Do I say that right? Yes, striped. In essence, I make 2 RAID 0 volumes. Now, let me see. If I click this drive and I click on new spanned or striped. I think it was striped. Striped volume. I click next. And I click only this 3 add. And I click on next. Okay, it will be D, next. And this thing will be called movies. Yeah, perform a quick format and I click next. Finish. The operation you selected will convert the selected disk to dynamic. Yeah, I know that. That always happens when you stripe 2 disks. Now the thought about this was, okay, RAID 0, it's not that safe. If one of these drive fails, okay, then, but the thing is, then I am aware of what I have lost. In the RAID 5 configuration, well, I don't know then what I have lost. So I will also take this drive and say new striped volume. I click next and I add this drive, add, and I say next, will be E. And this will be like TV shows. Form a quick format, next, finish, yes. That will be the E drive and I already have an F. Then the copying can start and then my home server is back online. So how does this show up here? So I have now movies. Yeah, and it says 7.2 terabyte. Yeah, it says basically the same. Yeah. So I take now this drive and I say this is E drive and D drive. So D drive is like all the stuff. I don't know, backup, let me see. Important value of video, yeah, okay. Downloads, movies, share. I'm just thinking about, yeah. And E drive, which are like, oh, my camera just shut down after 10 minutes of recording. Sorry, my bad. Well, anyway, I will now copy all this stuff to the E drive. So copy this, copy to here. I put like, well, I'm thinking, because on the install, this is called the E drive, but I have under media, I have, for example, also FLAC, which is like all kind of music, kind of stuff like this, MP3s, other audio, and TV shows is listed here, and also they are they're divided into fixed shows, which I want to keep, and variable shows that I delete after watching. So I think that I will just copy these, copy to the TV shows, and I will keep the audio files on the F drive. Yeah, okay, so that will copy there, and from this drive to the D drive, which is like the movies and share downloads, backup, the whole schmuck, I will copy that to the D drive, also paste it, and this will take like probably an eternity, I think. So it's still calculating, but I think it will last a lot of time, because there are I think I have like a directory called Amiga, which is containing a lot of ADF files, 100,000 or something like that. So you can already see it like there under, and you know, below in the window it says like discovered so many items, while above already the 5,700 items are being copied, and below it's still counting 50,000 items, blah 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 blah. But anyway, yeah, the thing is working, and I'm happy. You know, this is for now a temporary sort of setup. I have put the Fractal node over there, and I'm actually happy, you know, with also the temperature, because now I can go back into the BIOS and put back the processor speed back to 3.5 gigahertz. Because did I told you that that I actually underclocked this processor to 2.5 gigahertz. So I put a multiplier to 25 to underclock it, because that little cooler I had over there, that thing was so little that had too little capacity to cool the processor, and well, this thing is better, and yeah, I can put it back to 3.5, and I think that will make this whole PC a lot faster. So we will let this thing continue, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And yeah, we can always start some kind of discussion about what is more sensible, RAID 0, RAID 5. I also read things about RAID 6 or RAID 10. No, RAID 6 is basically, well, a sort of RAID 1, but then with multiple drives, I guess. So that's not my thing, costs too much space. And RAID 10 is like a combination of both or something. And RAID 1 is also not for me, because that is like just mirroring, and it just costs too much space. And the thing is, actually, if these files were that important, let's say so important, well, then I would have like 10 backups of them. First of all, and second of all, well, then I would of course use a proper RAID option, probably RAID 1 on 2 of these drives in 2 sets. Why not? I mean, why then use RAID 10? Okay guys, so I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Yeah, with the Fractal node, the thing, yeah, it's a nice cube. A lot of hard drive space, and yeah, you saw me how I was finagling with it a little bit, and even the SSD, there was on the other side, there was like space for it. I did not even saw it, that you could mount them there as well. So yeah, okay guys, thank you for watching, and yeah, and I will see you next time. See you, bye bye.